In the spring of 1999, we officially moved into our new home, filled with excitement for a fresh start, a new life, and new opportunities. The neighborhood was safe, quiet, and simply beautiful. For us, living in an actual house was a completely new experience. I still remember our first day there. My dad performed his traditional cleansing ritual with a broom, sweeping through the house to clear out any negative energies and any lingering spirits. For the first 3 years, we didn't encounter anything scary at all. We had our altar set up for protection, renewed every new year, and we held annual cleansing rituals. Each morning, sunlight streamed through the large windows, filling the home with warmth and light. There was nothing to fear. At one point, since there weren't enough bedrooms, I found myself sleeping in the empty closet in the hallway of the second bedroom. It was cozy enough for me to lay down some blankets, and it became my secret little hideaway. Sometimes I'd sneak in there just to escape from chores and peek out to see who was coming and going. It was my little pocket of peace. But then, in 2002, right at the height of our new life, something unexplainable happened. We discovered a bat casually flying around in the basement. There were no entry points for it, which felt so strange. As kids, we thought it had probably slipped in somehow, but my parents sensed something different. They knew it was a warning, that something was coming and our home needed protection. We were a spiritual family, relying on shamans for healing, but the energy in the house began to shift and feel darker. Whatever the message was, it didn't feel good. Months later, my dad passed away unexpectedly. The shock and sadness left us in a state of grief, and I felt numb to everything that followed. In our tradition, when the man of the house passes, the altar comes down. Suddenly, we no longer had a spiritual protector in our home, and the barrier between our world and the spirit world was gone. After his funeral, we performed a ritual and officially took down the altar. Losing my dad felt like losing the altar all over again. With it went our sense of safety, and we felt as though we were opening our doors to whatever spirits or entities might want to come in and cause chaos. After taking down the altar, the energy in the house changed dramatically. It went from light and airy to heavy and dark. Anyone who visited began to experience unsettling things. And she comes. This is where the real ghost stories begin. My dad passed away just a month before I started high school, and that first year was incredibly tough. After his death, we often had family members stay with us. My nephews would come over frequently, which helped bring some warmth back into our home during that difficult time. But as comforting as their presence was, many of them started experiencing creepy things, and gradually, they began to visit less often. I can't recall which nephew it was, but one day, while coming up the second set of stairs, he spotted a little girl by the hallway closet where I used to sleep. Confused, he assumed it was just a relative's child. Later, he asked if anyone had brought a kid over, but no one had. That encounter really scared me, and I stopped using my little closet as a hideaway. After both of my older sisters got married, I finally moved into that tiny bedroom I mentioned earlier. My grandma moved in with me, and we shared a bed. Just to give you a sense of how small that room was, it barely fit a full-size bed and a nightstand. When my grandma was still around, she used a cane to get around, and I always knew when she got up to use the bathroom because I could hear the sound of her cane echoing through the house. It was comforting to have her close by. Still, there was a strange aura about that room since it was tucked away in its own little wing of the house. It had its own hallway and the bathroom was just next to it. There was even a door inside the room that was boarded up. Now that I finally had my own room with a real bed, I was excited. But something about that door felt unwelcoming. I set my bed up on the opposite wall, but my curiosity got the better of me. Why was the door boarded up? What was behind it? One day, I couldn't resist and knocked on the door. It didn't feel solid like a wall. I pressed my face against the door, hoping to hear something. Movement, voices. Maybe it was a magical portal to another world. But I listened and heard nothing. Still, that door made me uneasy. Thankfully, having my grandma there made it feel safer. That summer, my grandma passed away, and I was heartbroken. I missed her presence so much. She played a crucial role in my life, and losing her less than a year after my dad left me reeling. I can't say I was her favorite, but I felt a special bond with her. Losing her was like losing the Empress in the Forbidden City. I grieved all over again. Even though they were gone, I felt their essence linger. One night, while I was sleeping, I was awakened by the sound of footsteps in the hallway. I was in that half-asleep state, listening as the steps approached my part of the house. It kept getting closer, and then I heard it, the soft rattle of a cane. It was slow and gentle, just like my grandma walked. Could it be her? But why didn't it feel comforting? The footsteps stopped at my bedroom door, and I waited, expecting the knob to turn. But after a few minutes, silence filled the air. I was suddenly wide awake, fully aware that my grandma was gone and whatever was at my door was still there. I pulled my blanket up tightly, hiding beneath it all night, not caring if I couldn't breathe. I reflected on what had happened. I was too scared to share it with anyone, so I kept it to myself. After the deaths of my dad and grandma, it felt like our home was shrouded in a dark veil. The rest of the family seemed lost for a while, and negative energy began to creep in, leading to more unexplained occurrences. My older brother, for instance, and then there was my baby sister, Anna, who was about 7 at the time and had an invisible friend. Anna, born with Down syndrome, was the sweetest soul. Our culture believes that special needs children are gifted, and she would often disappear only to be found in the first-floor hallway closet, talking to someone or something. When I'd ask who she was speaking to, she would say, "Old lady." I'd ask where the old lady was, and she'd insist she was right there, but I couldn't see anyone. One strange night while I was sleeping in my tiny room, I had a typical routine of wearing a t-shirt, bra, and shorts to bed. It was hot, and I was too scared to open the windows, even though it was the second floor. I was terrified of creepy noises or voices coming in, so I always kept the windows shut no matter how warm it got. Now, as an adult, I think maybe those fears were my spirit guides warning me. That night, I fell into a deep sleep, but around 2 a.m., I woke up drenched in sweat. It was so hot that I gently pulled the covers away from my head. The moment I moved, I felt exposed. The cold air brushed against my skin, sending chills down my spine. I quickly realized my bra wasn't on me. I had no memory of taking it off, and when I came to my senses, it was nowhere to be found. Feeling tired yet aware of what had happened, I hid under the covers until morning. When I woke up, I found my bra at the foot of the bed, and panic set in.
I was freaking out, but felt too embarrassed to tell anyone. I figured my mum would just shrug it off, so I zipped my lips. These strange events became more frequent, as if the spirit was making her presence known. Little did I know, while she haunted me, she was also haunting the rest of the family, yet we never spoke of it. At this point, the spirit was no longer hiding. With the altar taken down, she decided to come out of the closet, literally, and even revealed herself to my then boyfriend.